Hello, friends. Gonna give a bit of an explanation of how I got here. My introduction to folk healing, my personal history that brought me to the current beliefs and practices that I now utilize in my life, and we'll take it from there. So, as some of you may already know, I was born and raised in the Latter-day Saint Church, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also often referred to as Mormons in the media. So I have a very strong background in Christianity, and I'm very familiar with the Bible, particularly the New Testament. I really need to work on getting more familiar with the Old Testament, and with the Book of Mormon, Pearl of Great Price, and the teachings of the Latter-day Saint Church. I was a full-time missionary for 2 years where I proselytized, and well, that was a very eye-opening experience. That's the first time I met Romani people, or what in media would regularly be referred to as gypsies, even though that's not a particularly polite term. So that's when I first got introduced to them and a lot of their practices, such as tarot, palm reading. I also, for the first time, really interacted with a lot of Catholics, and so learned a lot about intercessory prayer and lighting candles and that aspect of Christianity, which is not a part of the Latter-day Saint faith. Learning to interact with saints was a very interesting experience, particularly coming from a church called the Church of Latter-day Saints, and we don't actually have any saint veneration in the church. So that was a fascinating experience to go through, learning some of that. After returning to the I was in Argentina for that, by the way. So I also speak Spanish, hablo español. I'm out of practice because most of the people here in the United States who speak Spanish don't particularly want to talk to me, just in general. So I haven't had very many conversations beyond giving minor directions, with a handful of exceptions. I do have a few friends with whom I can still speak Spanish, but it doesn't happen as often as I would like. So when I came back to the United States, I first met a whole bunch of people who practice what is now referred to as modern day witchcraft, Wiccans, and it's when I really started recognizing all of these people are doing very similar physical actions for wildly different reasons, and calling upon different entities or sources of power for it, different deities, different aspects of divinity. And more I started to see that there is a common ideology, a common underlying belief set, even though we have such different vocabulary to talk about these different religions and these different practices. Because of that, I started really researching a lot of different things. Editing Erie here with a quick note. What I'm trying to explain here is the monomyth, that all mythology, all religion originated at a single point at some point far in the past of human history. If you want to learn more about that, I learned about it first in my literature classes at college. in an examination of the book Hero of a Thousand Faces, where it gets really in depth about the hero's journey and how every culture has this in some way, shape, or form. And after some very difficult life experiences, including a death in the family and a very abusive relationship that ended in divorce, I was looking for answers. And so I did a lot of soul searching, a lot of running around looking for how do different people deal with this stress? How do different people deal with this trauma? And so, in addition to going to see mental health professionals, I also ended up interacting with my first experiences with Reiki and my first experiences with Brujeria, or Mexican witchcraft. That really opened my eyes to how there are different ways to approach the same goals, the different practices and methodologies of helping people heal. The mentor or teacher that I went to for Reiki is also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So it was a good way to comfortably start studying some of these things, because anytime you start working against the prejudices that you grew up with, even if you didn't realize they were prejudices, it takes time to work down those internal barriers so that you can actually learn from the people who are just absolutely wonderful and willing to teach. In addition, I then also found Katrina Rasbold. When I was at a friend's house, she had a tarot. She wanted to show me her tarot decks, and one of them, as she was opening them out, just launched itself across the table at me, and she said, "Well, I guess that's yours now." So she had just signed up for a tarot reading class with Katrina and invited me to sign up with her. So then I started studying tarot. And because of that introduction to Katrina, about a year after that, I took an introductory course into Brujeria with her. And then after that, I took a biouniversal healing class that took course over an entire year. Through this process, I have gained certifications as a Reiki master, meaning I not only can perform Reiki for others, but I can also teach and perform ignitions for people so that they can also begin using Reiki for themselves and for those around them. And I also became certified through Katrina's courses in biouniversal healing. Most of this came about because I had reached a point in life where I was, the simplest way to say is just traumatized. While I am still a member of the church, at that point, I was not treated particularly well in the time immediately preceding and then the year after my divorce. And so I really started questioning what it meant to be Christ-like, what it meant to be a good Christian, what it meant to be a saint. And as I found very shocking at that time, but now makes perfect sense to me, the people who were most Christ-like in my life weren't even Christian. And so I really had to start examining my beliefs and practices and thinking, okay, if these people are capable of carrying so much light and being so charitable and so Christ-like, what do they have that's good, that is helpful and healing. And why am I limiting myself? Why am I limiting my ability to help both heal myself and heal those around me by maintaining a very strict rule set of, oh no, you can't touch that because that's wrong, that's evil, because only this method of helping someone is acceptable. I don't believe that deity, God, whichever term you wish to use, was intending for us to be nearly so tribal in our beliefs, nearly so tribal in our methods of interacting with one another. And so, as I find things that are beneficial, that promote healing and growth, I have been incorporating them. So at this point, I have a pretty firm grasp on Conjure, on a variety of folk healing practices from the Appalachian Mountains, where my ancestry is from, a handful of Native American techniques from my other side of the family, where I have some Native American ancestry. And I've really just started mixing anything that has helped me and anything that I can then offer as a service to others. So, long story short, that's how I got here. Experienced difficulty and then started looking for answers and went a long meandering path. Want to keep this short though, so that there will be more to explain and explore later. But that's how we got here. Walk in the light. Bye.